So I'm at my favorite Toyota dealer today to see if the inventory is actually getting to these lots. We can see where a lot of the parts, the manufacturing actually come from. Mexico, there's the biggie. We know what's going on right now. So you can see these holes behind me. It's still been very difficult for a lot of these Toyota dealerships to keep inventory on their lots. I've never seen one of these in person because of how difficult it has been for dealerships to get these things. So Toyota just said that they're going to start loading up their dealers with new inventory. Final assembly point is also a massive concern. And throughout this video, I'm actually going to show you what dealers pay for a lot of these vehicles. All right, here's the Camry right here. It's an LE. Invoice price on this is... So Toyota just sent out a memo to all of their dealers saying that they were going to build more and sell more. That was in quotations. So what really is happening right now, and I think it's a big tell for the market, is that even manufacturers like Toyota, who have some of the lowest day supply on the market, know that they have to kind of flip what they've been doing over the last couple years, artificially keeping supply low so they can keep their margins very, very high. Toyota's been able to make a lot of money on each individual vehicle that they've been able to sell because they haven't had a lot of inventory. People who are paying max price, MSRPs, can be very, very high, but they know right now that that's not where the market's going to be able to sustain itself. We're going to have to get back to what the market was, and that's volume. And I think it's very telling for a manufacturer like Toyota, like Lexus, when they have the lowest day supply on the market right now, to say, okay, you know what, now we need to go back to the volume game, and that's where we're going to be able to make our money, and not in the high margin. We're gonna have to start pumping out vehicles to these dealerships, and that's what they're going to do right now. All right, here we go. I want to check this one. This is Toyota Camry. One thing that I still think Toyota does very, very well, that you've seen that the American brands are just kind of throwing out the window, and it might be because of this car. It might be because of this and the Honda Accord that Ford, GM, Stellantis, they can't compete with a car like this with a four-door sedan, and that's why they've really stopped making them. But this is a 2025 Toyota Camry. It's an LE, and the price on this one is $32,361. All right, here's the Camry right here. It's an LE. Invoice price on this is $30,002. And I can scroll in here and show you, okay, this is more of a highly desirable vehicle at Toyota. You're going to see day supply, 30 days, sub 30 days, or it's going to give you really a tell on the market that this is what people are buying. They want to buy Camrys when they're hitting the ground, and not necessarily the trucks, which have a higher day supply of a lot of these smaller, more affordable sedans that you're seeing out. All right, this is a biggie right here. This is one that, I mean, it has been very difficult to find. These are RAV4s. This is the LE, so this is one of the, actually this is the lowest version I think you're going to be able to find. 2025 is the LE, and it's only the front wheel drive. So this should be about the cheapest RAV4 that you can find on the market. And it's $33,370. And what I want you to notice about this, I mean, they have to post if they have any markups or anything like that. This dealership doesn't. So this is, I mean, this is a good thing. I like that this dealership has gone this route. And really, here's the thing. RAV4s are so hard to find. They could put add-ons. They could put $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 worth of junk on this thing, and they don't. And they're moving them because they're a volume dealer. Another thing I want to check is to look and see the assembly. So the assembly of this is in Canada. So this is another, and US, Canada part 70%, Japan 10%. But this is the big thing. The assembly point is in Canada. So this is going to be something that is something for us to pay attention to. On a highly desirable vehicle like this, assembly in Canada, is the price going to go up? What's Toyota going to do with this, with all the news going out, with all tariffs that are potentially going to hit a lot of these vehicles? It's very interesting to see. But I want to, let's check the invoice price on it, because the MSRP right at $33,000. All right, here's a 2025 Toyota RAV4, the LE, and the invoice price on this is $31,201. and I want to show you the days supply of this one is only 27 days. So this is another very hot vehicle moving just about as soon as it's hitting the lot. So if you want to check out invoice pricing just like this, check out the link in my description below. Doesn't cost you a thing. You put one in and find out what it is. All right, so I want to check out this Tacoma right here. This is one of the big problems that Toyota's having. We have the Tacoma, we have the Tundra, but with the Tacomas and then moving to the 4-cylinder turbo, it's been a big time issue. There's a lot of people that just won't buy them because of the motors. But the one thing that I want to point out, and this is a limited, and I'll show you the price in just a second, but we can see where a lot of the parts, the manufacturing actually come from. It says US, Canada parts is 35% on this vehicle. Japan is 20%. Mexico, there's the biggie. We know what's going on right now. And 30% is a big concern, but the final assembly point is also a massive concern for this Tacoma. So if and when and however much it is where the tariffs actually land, well, this is a vehicle that's going to be heavily compromised in that, because so much of the parts, so much of the assembly, actually all the assembly, happens in Mexico, and then it has to be shipped up here. But let's check this out. This is a 2025, it's a Tacoma, it's limited, and the MSRP on this, $59,000, so it's right at 60 grand for this thing. So that's the concern. We already have a lower demand for a vehicle like this. And then if you slap some extra percentages on it, well, Toyota's going to have to make the decision. Well, do we pass that on to the consumer who's already not really willing to pay the price for these things? Or do we get to a situation where we just have to eat it, we make less money on this particular model, and we make it up somewhere else? And it could lead to, instead of raising the price on the more undesirable vehicles from Toyota, the stuff that is harder to sell in Toyota, well, maybe they push that price increase to the things that they can sell, the Corollas, the Camrys, the RAV4s. That's a decision that a lot of these companies are going to have to make, and it's going to be made in a very short amount of time. So that's interesting, something interesting for us to pay attention to and look into. Anyway, but I'm gonna show you the invoice price now on that Tacoma. All right, here's the 2025 Toyota Tacoma, and invoice price on this is $55,048. What I want to show you also though is day supply for Toyota is one of the lowest on the market, but you can still see right here for the Tacomas, which are slower selling for Toyota right now, 54 days of supply. And I would assume throughout the course of this year, since they still have 2024 sitting on the market, when they get those out of here, we're going to see the 2025s, the days supply of those are going to also creep up just because they're having difficulty selling a lot of these trucks at Toyota. All right, and check this out. It's in the wild, a Grand Highlander. It is here, it's not sold, and it's sitting on a lot. I have never seen one of these in person because of how difficult it has been for dealerships to get these things. And here you go. You can see the front end of it. It looks good, a good looking vehicle. I actually don't even know what the price point on this thing is going to be, just because I've never seen one. So I'm seeing this for the first time, just like you are. And here we go. Grand Highlander, LE, front wheel drive. So it's going to be the cheapest. This is going to be the cheapest Highlander that you will ever see out in the wild. $44,535. And yeah, there's a little bit of there's $500 worth of add-ons. I'll show them to you. So they have window tint, $499. This is something that they've actually put on the vehicle. So your total price is here. This is another thing that I think it's good. I don't like the add-on, even if it's $500. I don't like the add-on. So don't get me wrong with that. But this is a vehicle right here that you could see at other dealerships a market adjustment of $5,000, and they'd probably get it. I'm very surprised that this vehicle is sitting right here and exists. I do want to see. It might be so rare that we might not even be able to pull up invoice pricing, but you know what? We're going to try it right now. The 2025 Toyota Grand Highlander, this is the LE. Invoice price on this is $40,918. One other thing I want to say about the influx of inventory coming to a lot of these dealerships, not only just talking about Toyota, but you look at Honda, their day supply is going up, they're getting more inventory. Even brands that are distressed, you think like Ford, Nissan, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, their days of inventory are going through the roof, and you're seeing that those dealerships are absolutely slammed with inventory. Well, this is selfishly really good for me as a used car dealer, because the only way that I'm able to get inventory on my lot is from these dealers right here selling vehicles and taking trade-ins. So if you get a situation where high demand product like Toyota, they didn't have inventory, now they're starting to get inventory where they can sell more inventory, they can take in more trade-ins and then get them to me. And then even on the undesirable products like the Ford F-150s, the Nissans, the Rogues, what they're trying to sell, and then it seems like Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, everything that they produce is very low demand. But if you get high supply to these dealers from these manufacturers, then what you have is you have prices that have to go down on those dealer lots. And when that happens, well, then you incentivize these consumers to actually pull the trigger on something that maybe they didn't want, but it's cheap enough now that they'll buy it. And when you get that, well, you get more sales, you get more trade-ins, I get more cars at auctions. Okay, used car prices can go down from there, and then that means I can buy cheaper, I can make more money because I can roll more volume. It helps everyone involved. More inventory is what we need into the system, and that can cause prices to come down. That can create more velocity of money that moves through the system. More velocity of money, it means more transactions, it means more cars for me, it means I make more money, and that's selfishly what I want. So I want manufacturers to make more cars, I want prices to come down, and that way I can make more money. And here's one I used to go to a lot of Toyota dealerships just to find one. And we have one right here, there's one over there, there's one more right there. So we have 3 Toyota Prius. These have been and still are pretty difficult to find, but with the new diversity of product that Toyota is allowing these dealers to now have again, let's check this one, because this one's very interesting to me. Oh, we go over here. This is a 2025 wind chill, but no, that's the color. Nightshade. Nightshade, I think, is the trim level of it. $37,706. These things are cool. I know that even the older Prius that I'm able to buy, we still they did a good job on the hybrid systems. I don't know anything about the new ones. Obviously, I haven't owned one, but I know even the old, like, those are the only hybrids I will buy for my dealership, and I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. And those are the only ones that seem to last the test of time, have been able to put 150,000+ miles on them and still be able to not have to replace anything that's major in the hybrid system, which costs a ton of money. We want just to give you an example of a comparison, like a Honda Accord hybrid, like we won't even touch those, because everyone that we've ever bought, there have been serious problems with their hybrid systems, and it costs more than the car's worth to even be able to replace it. But Prius, we haven't had to deal with that. Anyway, but these look cool, and I want to check the invoice price on this. All right, here's a Toyota Prius, and the invoice price on this is $34,738. And I wanted to come to this Toyota dealership. This is one of my favorite Toyota dealerships to come to because they're a volume dealer. I think they do a very good job. Not a ton of add-ons here. I've even come here before to negotiate a vehicle. Very highly desirable vehicle. I'll tell you about that in just a little bit. But I was even able to negotiate that under MSRP here. And this is not something that you can do at a lot of Toyota dealerships. So I think this is a good Toyota dealership for me to look at to see the inventories, because they're going to continuously be moving through inventory with them being a high volume dealer. Yes, they still have tons of trucks that are not moving. Tacomas, Tundras, big problem for Toyota right now, but what they haven't been able to really keep on their lot, you think Prius, you think, okay, there's a RAV4 right here, Land Cruisers, they're moving those really well. You have Corollas, you have Camrys, and this is very interesting to see this here today, because this is the most diversity of product that I've seen in a very long time at this dealership. And I pay attention to this dealership a lot. I come to this dealership a lot. I see 4 or 5 Prius out here. I see not a lot of RAV4s, maybe 2 or 3 out here. We got a lot of Land Cruisers that just came in. But you can see that maybe, okay, we have a manufacturer that's actually doing what they say that they're going to do, where they're getting more product to this dealership. And it's been not that long ago that I've been talking to salespeople from this dealership, And they say, okay, yeah, we can get Tundras, we can get Tacomas, but if we have a customer list of people that want a certain product, well, we have to be here the day that the truck drops the vehicles off to be able to call our clients and say, hey, your Corolla just dropped, your 4Runner just dropped, your RAV4 is here, come get it right now before somebody else snatches it up. And those salespeople have to be working basically on their days off if the truck drops off the new allocation, because those vehicles are going to get snatched up and snatched up very quickly. But it looks like that's not the case right now, because you're having some RAV4s, you're having some of these Prius, you're having some Corollas, some Camrys that are actually hitting this lot and not being insta-sold, right? So this is a good thing for a lot of those salespeople. And the salespeople have been kind of aggravated with the amount of inventory and the kinds of inventory that they've been able to get here at this dealership. But now it seems like it's a great thing, because they're going to be able to move some product, some actual product that people want. Not a lot of these Tacomas and Tundras that they're having a hard time selling, but all of this new diversity of inventory that's coming in. Good for the salespeople, good for the dealership. They're able to move more vehicles. Good for the consumer, because you're able to see prices come down when you have more availability of product. And then I think at the end of the day, good for the manufacturer too, because even if we are shrinking some of our margins, I still think volume is going to be there, especially for a brand like Toyota, especially for a brand like Lexus. Good, I think good all the way around. And I absolutely can't leave here without talking about the Tundras. So I want you to look at the comparison of how many like RAV4s, Corollas, Camrys, Prius that you've seen on this lot versus how many Tacomas and how many Tundras that you've seen. And really even I think Tundras outnumber the Tacomas. So you have 3 right there, you got 4, 5, 6, 7, and then, you know, I'm not even gonna count them, because you have a whole row right here, you've got more right here, and I think you've got a couple more on that side over there. But what I wanted to look at, let's just check this one. This one's a Platinum right here. And one of the things that's the biggest problem, I think, with Toyota is perception. And what we've had over the last few years is a perception that these motors, these trucks are absolute garbage, and that carries on. Doesn't matter what the reality is. They could have fixed everything wrong with the motors that were in these things to produce the new ones. And from what I've talked to with people I've spoken to within Toyota, a lot of the salespeople, even like one of the managers, they retooled it, they fixed everything. There's no issues with the brand new ones that have come out. But that doesn't matter. All that matters is the perception of these 6-cylinder turbos. And if there are a lot of consumers out there that would be buyers of these things that think they're absolutely junk now, well, guess what? You're gonna have a harder time selling these trucks. You're gonna have to either make it to where the price, you know what, there's only one thing that they can do. They have to make it cheap enough to get those buyers to come back in. And it might just be simply that there's not a price point that they can actually put it down to where the consumer will want to buy it again. But this one, let's look at what it is. This is 2025 Platinum, $72,695. And I can tell you, if I'm a buyer of a truck and I have any questions about this truck, about the quality, about the longevity of the motor, about even if it's covered under warranty, and it's fixed with a recall. If you just bring it back into service, they replace the whole motor, which is what they did with a lot of these Tundra motors. Even if that's the case, for $72,000, I don't even want to have that. That opportunity to have to go in and get a brand new motor. I want what I'm paying for $72,000. I want that truck to be good. I want that thing to be rock solid. I don't want to have question marks when I'm going down the interstate at 85 miles an hour if the thing's not 85 miles an hour. That would be speeding. We're going to save 70 miles an hour on the interstate for that motor not to implode on itself. And that's what the reports have said. That's what we've seen in the news. That's what's even come from Toyota. That's what all these recalls have been fixing. That's what all these motor replacements. And that's a Tundra. So now what has it done to like the used car market? Well, a lot of these Tundras that had the V8s, the last year that they had V8s, well, those are going through the absolute moon. And you can see what the market is saying, because they're absolutely buyers for a Toyota full-size truck. They're absolutely buyers for a Toyota Tundra. There are guys out there that all they'll buy is a Toyota Tundra, but they're not buying the new 6-cylinder turbos. They don't want them. They want the big V8. So I'm actually on the way out of this dealership right now. One thing I will say that for whatever reason, I just missed it and didn't even think about. There's not one 4Runner out here on this dealership. So that's very interesting to see. I mean, I would guess the most popular SUV on the market, maybe other than the RAV4. My guess, I don't know. I'm not an expert. Some people think that I'm an expert, and I know that I'm not an expert. I am here to entertain you and show you some stuff about the car market, and that's it. But I'm surprised that there's not a 4Runner here. So hopefully, as the diversity of inventory continues to come into these dealerships, you'd see more 4Runners. And it's weird, because last year at this time, a lot of these Toyota dealerships that I would go to, like, they would have lots of 4Runners sitting around. Like, even this dealership right here, I'm gonna go down and show you this line from like videos past. Like, they would have, even when they wouldn't have Prius, Corollas, RAV4s or whatever, they had this whole line right here was 4Runners. So it's very interesting to see that there are 0 4Runners here right now.